guys, what's up? Killjoy Jake here, and instead of having friends, I hope right now you're seeing a bunch of fog graphics right now because, like, I don't have enough money to afford a fog machine. Today we're going to be pitting the remake of The Fog versus the original Fog from John Carpenter. But before I get into that, I'm gonna need you guys to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Alright, now let's get into it. Get over here! So let's talk a little bit about these movies. The Fog is a film written, directed, and scored by John Carpenter. Also, Deborah Hill is credited as a co-writer, John Carpenter's longtime collaborator that no one seems to talk about, or at least fail to mention. I don't know what's up with that. She's a big part of Halloween and this film, so I don't know why she doesn't get mentioned more. The film is about a small coastal island town of Antonio Bay that is haunted by the spirits of sailors that died there 100 years ago, that seem to have come back for vengeance in a mysterious fog. This film is recognized as a cult classic in the horror genre. So if you haven't seen either of these films, I highly recommend checking them out before you watch the rest of this video. Alright, now let's get into the good. For The Fog 1980, I love the cast. Tom Atkins, Jamie Lee Curtis, Adrienne Barbeau? I don't know how to pronounce that, but she's incredible as well. I love how Adrienne, I'm not gonna try and pronounce her last name, I love how she acts as sort of a narrator throughout this film. And her voice is just so interesting to listen to. Some people, like, who are actors, you hear their voice and you're just like, okay, like, if you talk for too long, I'm gonna lose interest here. And of course, Jamie Lee Curtis and Tom Atkins are great in everything they're in, so great lead characters for this one. Beautifully shot and sets up scares nicely. I gotta hand it to this film for being a pre-2010 era jump scare reliant film. It does good at setting up jump scares, which we really didn't perfect until the 2010s, in my opinion. This film is shot in such a way that it sets up really good jump scares that I'm a big fan of personally. I know some people think that jump scares are just cheap, but hey, I think if it scares you, it jolts you in any kind of way, then it's scary and it's effective. Great pacing for this film. So this is gonna come off as a surprise, but the first time I ever saw this film was a day ago. I love John Carpenter movies, and I don't know why I just avoided this film for so long. This whole remake versus original thing was kind of an excuse for me to, like, go and watch this one. And was I super surprised by it? Holy crap. The big thing that I noticed from this film is that the pacing is fantastic. It's this awesome build-up and slow burn to the ending, which is just explosive and insane. Lots of fog, of course. I gotta say, this was a surprisingly fun movie. And it didn't seem like it. It seemed like it was gonna be kind of slow and there'd be like a few shots of creatures and stuff, but it was actually really fun the whole way through. Although this is a cheese fest, it never gets too cheesy. Pirate ghosts attacking a coastal town in California, it sounds like the plot of a Scooby-Doo episode. But although there is a lot of cheese here, it never gets too cheesy to where it's unbelievable. The actors give such a great performance here that you're buying it the whole time, you're having a good time with these actors, and it makes for an incredible stew of a film. Now let's move on to the good from The Fog 2005. This film has one cool effect that it uses over and over and over again. Someone will crash through a pane of glass, a fake pane of glass, obviously. I don't think they would actually have someone go through a pane of glass, that would probably hurt. And then they just catch on fire. That's it. That's all there is to this movie. That's all I got for the good. That's really it. Now let's move on to the bad. For The Fog 1980, I'd say my one criticism is it definitely needs an update because of the special effects. See, I always thought it was cool when they had like the red glowing lights where the eyes are supposed to be, but in this one it's pretty obvious. That, and there's a few scenes where you can see the fog that it's clearly just like a picture with like some fog blowing in. This film could definitely use a good remake, unlike the 2005 movie. Moving on to The Fog 2005. This film is the exact same movie, just updated by time. They literally just recreated shots from the original film, put them together in a very loose narrative, and called it a movie. That is literally this entire movie. The cast is god-awful. The two actors that I recognized were Tom Welling and Maggie Grace. Honestly, I didn't really like Maggie Grace on Lost, if I'm being honest. She was probably my least favorite character. And Tom Welling just wasn't good in this movie. Now see, I don't think that's a problem with the actors that they decided to choose. I think that's a problem with the script and the direction, which I don't think I would be too far off from making that assumption. Some of the lines of dialogue from this actually decently talented cast are surprisingly bad. Scares absolutely failed to land. They set up a lot of scares in this movie and not one of them at all gets you. I think it was trying to recreate those jump scares from the original movie, just totally missed the mark on it. And it all comes back to camera work and sound design. The original Fog does that so perfectly, and that's why the scares really land. This film just completely misses the mark on that. This film is cheesier than the original. So Tom Welling is driving down the road, sees somebody in the fog, and is like, yo, hey, you wanna get in my car? You know, let's go for a drive, all right, you know? And then like, she steps a little closer, like a step closer to the car, and he's like, oh no, that's my girlfriend who lives like super far away. An actual change to this movie that is just completely horrible and unnecessary. Like, how would you not see her? She's standing like, she's like here, and then she comes here. It's like, oh, wow, that's my girlfriend. I shouldn't be picking up other girls. And then that never comes back, too. The guy is literally cheating on his girlfriend with like a bunch of different girls. He talks about it earlier in the movie. And then his girlfriend comes, and then she's like, what, are you picking up strangers on the road and stuff? And he's like, no, I didn't do that. And like, that never comes back. Horror movie 101, if you set up something like that, like, it's gonna come back to bite you in the ass later. Why even set that up? It's an unnecessary change if you're not gonna do anything with it. The ending is unbelievably stupid. I don't get it. I don't get it. Who makes it to Hollywood and says, we're gonna change the ending to The Fog to something that makes no sense, that had no setup at all. One of my biggest pet peeves of all time is when you have an ending that is explosive and crazy and has a twist with absolutely no setup. Don't even get me started about Uncut Gems. This movie has a random ass ending that they literally decided like last minute, they're like, hey, that would be cool if we just decided to make the girl that's been here the whole time a ghost for no reason. I watched the 2005 movie before I watched the 1980 movie, which let me tell you was a mistake. Don't watch them in that order. And the whole time I'm watching the 1980 Fog, I'm like, oh my god, Jamie Lee Curtis's character is gonna end up being a ghost. That is gonna be so stupid. Well, they don't do that in the 1980 movie because it's stupid. John Carpenter would never do that in one of his movies, and they decided to do that in this 2005 movie. It makes no sense. She was like a ghost the whole time that's like in love with the pirate dude. Like, the end of this movie is literally she walks up to the pirate ghost, kisses him. I know they're not pirates, but I just like to call them pirate ghosts because come on, Scooby-Doo stuff. She kisses the ghost pirate and then turns into a ghost pirate herself, and then they just kind of like disappear into nothing, and Tom Welling's character is like, whoa! It's so stupid. It's so stupid. This film incited no joy in me. This one incites joy, this one does not. It's like that one meme, but I totally screwed it up. So am I giving out the ugly award this time around? You're damn right I am. The Fog 2005. This is the ugliest movie I have covered in this series so far. Forget Piranha 1995. Forget Carrie 2013. This film is the absolute worst. I can't believe I actually spent $3 on this at the movie store. The very clear and obvious winner is the timeless classic, cult classic, The Fog 1980 from John Carpenter. The film really is slept on though. I mean, like, I don't really think I heard of it before I really got into horror like 2 years ago. I'm glad I finally got to see it. It was an excellent watch, so fun. It's like entertaining the whole time through, never a dull moment. But could they make a good remake of this movie? Damn right you can! You just gotta keep the same stuff that was good about the original and then change it up a little bit to modernize it. This is a weird story to play around with. Like, I think if you're remaking a slasher, there's a whole bunch of different avenues you can go down. You can like change up the slasher's characteristics while still keeping the same vibe of the original movie. You can make it bloodier and gorier and like a whole bunch more graphic than it was in the 80s or whatever movie you're remaking in this instance. But if you're gonna remake this movie, I feel like you have to stay true to the story, which is what the 2005 film completely disregards. You'd have to get somebody who is really loyal to the John Carpenter movie while still modernizing it in a good way, not just adding cell phones and updated actors and characters. So what do you guys think about these results? Leave me something about it in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching my remake versus original of The Fog. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at KilljoyJake1 and on Instagram at Killjoy_Jake. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.